We got some. You buying that? So this top one, this one's interesting to me because we've been down this road before. So, SGA says he loves Oklahoma City and that market, no market, I don't care. I love where I am. How do you feel about that sentence? And by the way, he did the smart thing. He didn't say I'm never leaving. Yep. Remember when Damian Lillard did that? That did not pan out well. So, how do you feel about the market stuff? I'm
agreeing with SGA and I understand where he's coming from because I don't think he realized that even though OKC is a small market, it's a great market. And I'm gonna give the OKC fan base in their city their flowers. If you've ever played a game in Oklahoma City, that is a fan base that is 100% behind this Thunder team. It's a great place to play basketball. It's a great atmosphere to compete in, and I've never played for the Thunder, so I can only imagine the outpouring of support that they receive in that community, in that city. So for him, he probably feels like he's on top of the world in Oklahoma City based on the things that he and his teammates have been able to accomplish on the floor and what they're building out there in Oklahoma. So for him, he's probably happy there. Like you said, no matter what, this is the place for me. I love where I am. That's a great fan base to play in front of. They respect great basketball. They respect great players, and this has been his experience. So let's try to put this argument to rest because, you know, in the broadcasting world, everyone's so obsessed with market size. And people are already complaining the other night that if we get a Cleveland-Oklahoma City finals, it's horrible. It's not, by the way. It would actually be quite fun. It would be dope. So stop talking about that. But as players, like, it's one thing to want to go to a city that's cool and fun, and maybe you've got family, what have you, weather, but do you care about actual market size? Some guys do. Okay. Some guys do actually care about that type of thing. They want to be in the markets where you have a lot of media, where they want to grow who they are off the court. They want to grow into those opportunities. You don't see that so much nowadays with some of these guys, but SGA is different. He's going to be himself no matter where he is. You know, he's been in Oklahoma City, played in LA for a year, and he's been there ever since, and he's been able to be a model. He's been able to do fashion. He's been able to be a staple in the fashion community. He's been able to do fashion weeks and all of these things that he cares about, all of these things that he's passionate about. And so it doesn't matter. What matters is how you compete. What matters is you growing your fan base based on the way that you go out there. And first things are first. You're a basketball player first, everything comes after that. If you take care of home, everything else will follow. He's been able to do that in his market. So some guys this matter to, some guys it don't matter whether they play on Mars. If I'm putting up 30 points a game, my fan base and everything that I want to do, it'll follow. I feel like he's a big fish no matter the pond. It doesn't matter. It's a good place to be. It doesn't matter. He's one of those type of people. It doesn't matter. Jimmy Butler said he still thinks he's in his prime. Now, just a reminder, he's 35 in his 14th season. You buying that? Prime. 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 I'm not buying. Now, what I will say is I feel like Jimmy Butler feels like he still has a lot of great basketball left. And all of us feel like we're in our prime until we have that coming to Jesus moment. So, maybe it's time to look a different direction, you know. But he feels like that. At 35 years old, he feels like he's in his prime. I can't take that away from him. Who am I to have an opinion about how Jimmy Butler feels about Jimmy Butler? But on the outside looking in, from a fan perspective, it looked like his prime is behind him. But it's still a lot of great basketball to play. Now, is Jimmy Butler being in his prime, is he the #1 option on a really good team that can compete for a championship? That's what make guys a prime player to me, in my opinion. And so I don't see Jimmy Butler having that seat anymore in his career. I think he could be a great #2 option or a great 3, or put him on one of these teams where they're top heavy with a lot of star power. And I think he can impact winning in that way. But is Jimmy Butler still the #1 guy on a team? That ain't up for me to decide. But like I said, I'm not buying it. Okay, not buying it. Got a good one coming up. Brandon Jennings recently called Jayson Tatum the, quote, softest superstar in the league. Now, since then, Tatum's made the quote his Instagram caption, his latest one. Are you buying that players thrive? We switched it a little bit. Are you buying that players can thrive off of negative energy more than they can positive? Yeah, we're competitors. Humans do that, I think. Nobody cares about the accolades and everything, but the moment somebody says something that goes left with you, that's what's going to motivate you. I'm just curious to know what Brandon Jennings' criteria is for that. What makes Jayson Tatum soft? The things that he was able to do in a Game 7, the way that he goes about his business in fourth quarters. What makes him soft? If he was soft, trust me, he would get tried time and time again. You don't see guys going out there and trying Jason Tatum, trying to ruffle his feathers or trying to box with him or get him off his game. That shows strength to me. You know, if he was a weak guy, people would always question his abilities. People would always go out and challenge him. I don't see this happening to Jason Tatum. So I'm just curious on what the criteria is for Brandon Jennings in saying that. So, no, I'm not buying.
I mean, I know we've had the discussion. It sounds worse than I mean it to, but people have said boring superstar.
Sure.
Is he using boring and soft?
He's fundamentally sound. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, just that.
He's fundamentally sound. He's a fundamental.
He's not saying crazy things.
He's a fundamental basketball player. He goes about his business and he leaves the court and he comes back. He goes about his business again and he comes back. And those 2 times that he left, he's 2-0. What's soft about that? I don't know. Again, I would just like to know the criteria from where this is coming from. You know, him saying the softest Celtics superstar ever.
Celtics?
I don't know. I don't want to make a case to make anybody softer than that.
What does it mean? It means different things.
I don't know what it means, so no, I'm not buying.
Okay, not buying it. Got to get a Pat Beverly one in here, obviously. He suggested, shout out, Lakers fans talk so bad about their own players that they actually decrease their value. Are you buying that?
Ooh.
Interesting.
You know, that's an interesting take. I'm a former Los Angeles Laker. What I will say is this is a city that loves their basketball, and they can be critical at times with the expectations they have. You know,
and unrealistic sometimes with the expectations.
Sometimes unrealistic. This is not a developmental city. This is not one of those cities where we're going to wait and develop talent. This is championship or bust every year, no matter how much talent that you have on the floor. And sometimes those conversations can kind of put expectations on guys that don't necessarily deserve it. So do they decrease their player value? It can go both ways. I've seen guys play on the Lakers, and if you play well for the Lakers, that puts you in a position to make more money in other markets. And I've also seen guys play themselves out of some money because of the criticism on being a Los Angeles Laker. This can go both ways. So I'm gonna buy a sample size. Can I buy a sample size? Can I rig it up a little bit?
Just like tasting it.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's some truths to this, but it can go both ways.
It's kind of an interesting theory because you'd like to think it wouldn't matter, but
yeah,
maybe subconsciously there is an effect on those who are making decisions. So that's interesting to me. Yeah. Kevin Durant called Nikola Jokic a top 10 player all time. Were you buying that?
It's an invisible crown. We love our list. We love our top 10s and our top 5s and who's the best, this and that. This is all subjective.
10's not a lot.
We're just gonna go back and forth, but I can make an argument for him. A lot of people could. I don't know if he makes my personal top 10, but he's for sure one of those guys that's gonna make a huge mark on this league and what he's been able to accomplish, what he's still building out throughout his career. But right now, I for sure got 10 guys in front of him that I feel like have put together better bodies of work. But like I said, we're still talking about guys that are still carving out their lanes. And so I'm not buying today.
A top 10 list is obviously
fluid.
Buy
today.
Every year we had. But he is the king of my world team, so.
Yeah, like it's Shaq, MJ, Kobe, LeBron, Steph Curry.
5.
I'm not even thinking.
Yep.
So
and those are relatively recent.
And
so.
then the OGs and the old schoolers are going to have something to say. The Bill Russells, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, and all of these guys. It's going to be tough to get them in there undisputed without anybody fighting it.
If you won another championship and another MVP.
I think we start having a different conversation.
Start having it, okay.
Yeah, I think we start pushing some guys out.
That's where
I think so.
Charles Barkley said that Anthony Edwards has regressed because he's becoming an outside shooter. Too many threes. Are you buying that? I mean, he's kind of in a weird spot.
I don't think he's regressed. I think he's going through some growing pains. He's going through some phases where he's trying to decide who he is as a player. You know, he's still 23 years old. He's figuring it out. You know, this is the first real year where he's been put into a leadership position on leading a team, and you're the undisputed, by far, best player on the team. You know, before he got there, Cat was already there, right? And so now, Cat being gone, this is his team. He's the leader of the organization, and with that, he's come back. He's shooting a little too many threes for my liking as a fan. I would love to see him continue to be that slasher and dunk on people like he just did the young guy the other day in that game. We got accustomed to seeing those plays, and sometimes when you get accustomed to something and you don't see as much of it, it's going to be some pushback on that. I wouldn't say he's regressed. I think he was trying to add to his bag, and he's still trying to find that balance of being a slasher and finding times in the games when he needs to be aggressive, when he's going to attack the rim, opposed to just standing out, shooting three-pointers and putting more pressure on the rim. So regress, I'm not going to give it that. I ain't buying.
No, I think you're right. I think there's some growing pains here because his role has changed because the team has changed. They got to figure all this out. It's all part of this, really. All right, the Knicks, they've lost 3 of their last 4. And, of course, we've reached that point in the season where we're all getting on Tibbs. They're tired. That's the theory here. Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, they're 1 and 2 in minutes played. OG Anunoby is 7th in the league right now. Are you buying that fatigue is a problem here?
Newsflash, everybody's tired right now. Listen, 40 games in, going into that All-Star break, trust me, everybody is tired right now. I just watched a game the other day. I forgot it was a double overtime game with the Kings and my
Why
goodness.
am I drawing a blank?
I'm drawing a blank as well. But both teams were Miami Heat. Both teams were shooting air balls. Like, you can see these guys, they were visibly tired. We're getting to that part of the season where everybody's going to be tired. These are going to be a lot of grit and grind games. These are the games.
I mean, but they're 1 and 2 and 7th in minutes played.
But if you're the Knicks, these are the games where you go to your bench. These are the games that you use the guys that you have on your bench to steal 4 or 5 minutes at a time for some of these guys. So are they losing because of fatigue? A lot of teams are losing because of fatigue. I wouldn't put more emphasis on this than usual because they're the Knicks. Like, as much as these guys are tired, they should also be accustomed to the minutes that they are playing. And so everybody in the league is tired right now, not just the New York Knicks. I ain't buying it.
And that's basically the answer they've been given when asked this question. So it's not them, it's us. We're deciding this for them. Steven Adams called Amen Thompson one of a kind, and he has not seen that type of athleticism. He's, by the way, just as a reminder, played with Russell Westbrook and John Morant. So
that's what he's supposed to say.
So you're not buying it?
He's probably the 3rd best athlete he's played with. You know, when he was with Russell Westbrook, Russell Westbrook was the best athlete in the NBA. When he played with John Morant was the best athlete in the world. Listen, you got to ride with who you're rolling with, right? Right now, this is the guy that he's rolling with. So he's the best athlete in the NBA to Steven Adams. This is the right thing to say. Hey,
is it good for him? Is it good for Thompson as a young player to hear something like that?
Absolutely. Okay, it gets the morale going, and you have somebody that's as decorated as Steven Adams giving you this compliment. You have no choice but to go run through a brick wall for the Houston Rockets right now. So, Steven Adams, way to play the mentor game, way to get in his head. Smart thing, I'm buying. Go ahead.
Glad Steven Adams is back out there.
It's cool.
Taking a quick break. When we come back, Ryan Ribeiro going to help us try and make a little money this weekend. We'll be back.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.